All right, I think I am streaming. This is still new for me, so we'll see how this goes. We'll learn how to do this better and better over time. But I want to start hopping here on YouTube more often and do live accent help. And so at first, we probably won't have a ton of people here, but over time, if I do this consistently, we'll have more people showing up. And I'd like to bring people on here live and do live accent coaching for free so that you can see how I help people, including, my paid clients, but this way it's a more public way of actually showing what I do. And whenever we don't have people on here for live coaching, I can potentially look at pre-submitted audios that I have permission to share and analyze, and do live accent feedback and explain how I would analyze that person's accent, how I might help them if I was coaching them, and walk through that. And also I can just, share whatever I think is helpful. If we have people here in the chat, you can put questions in the chat and we can do some Q&A like that. So I'll be testing this out better and better over time. But those are some of the formats we can do. So live coaching with someone actually on here, live feedback where I look at pre-submitted audio, Q&A from the chat, and me just kind of rambling and talking about whatever I think might be useful for Brazilians who want an American accent or closer to it. So let me check on my Instagram, because Instagram is where my main audience is, and I want to start bringing people from Instagram to YouTube over time. Let me make a Instagram live here to bring people over. So I'll say live on YouTube. Say live accent coaching. Or live accent help. I guess I shouldn't say coaching for now. Hey, I think we got someone here. This will grow more over time, but I'm here to help. So put anything in the chat, or if you even want to hop on live, we can figure out a way to do that through either a WhatsApp audio only call or just submitting audio, and I can analyze your accent, or possibly jumping in Zoom. I'm still figuring out the technology, but the idea is I want to hop on here more regularly and do live accent help for free so that you can see how this works. So let me go live here on Instagram, and we can get some more people hopping on here as well. Hey, so I'm live on YouTube. I'll leave a pinned comment here to join this live on YouTube, because that's where my focus is going to be. I guess for this initial, period where these YouTube lives are kind of a newer thing, maybe I'll try to interact a little bit on the Instagram live too, but the focus is on YouTube. So let me leave a pinned comment so people can start moving over to YouTube. Let me see, I think I have a pre-made, yep, cool, comment YT or YouTube to join on YouTube. Awesome. So I think this looks okay. A little tripod here. But yeah, submit questions here on YouTube. Again, YouTube's the main place I'll be looking. You can potentially submit something here on Instagram, and if I see it, I'll answer, but I want people to move to YouTube because that's where my focus is going to be. We can do more interesting stuff there as I figure out the tech to bring people on live, phone call, share my screen on desktop, show interesting stuff. It'll be good. So yeah, hop on over to YouTube if you guys want to join there, and we can do a little more dedicated accent coaching, accent help type of experience. Set on my tripod. It's probably noisy. Sorry about that. Let's see. There we go. Good enough. Okay, so let's talk about some accent fundamentals. And again, if you're on YouTube, comment in the chat anything to let me know you're here. Let me know if the audio sounds okay, because I'm still troubleshooting audio issues. Let's make sure things sound okay on YouTube. And I want to start sharing some stuff for Brazilians who want an American accent, who already speak English well, but want to adjust how they sound, how I would approach that if I was you, and how I've approached trying to sound more Brazilian in Portuguese. Não falo português exatamente igual ao brasileiro, mas minha intenção falar cada vez mais próximo de um sotaque brasileiro, de um jeito de falar que é bem parecido com o jeito que muitos brasileiros falam. And so I'll let you judge my results for themselves, but I'll tell you what I've done over these, 20 years learning Portuguese on and off, and how I've helped, I think over 400 clients, Brazilians who want an American accent, over the last 7+ years in my business. And so some of this, we can align with more scientific sort of things. There's some, evidence-based stuff, and there's also just kind of random stuff that works for me. And I don't know, but I'll try to not over exaggerate my confidence in things. I'll tell you what I believe and what I'm not sure about, and what seems to help me, what seems to help others. And we can keep improving that body of knowledge over time. But yeah, let's dive into some stuff. So one of the ways I think about accent versus pronunciation is accent often leads to the question, where are you from? And pronunciation often leads to the question, what did you say? Or asking you to repeat yourself. And then within accent, I like to break it down into vowels, consonants, flow, and smart practice are kind of the 4 pillars I think of. And we could, of course, question there's not just one right way of viewing these things, but that is a way that I like to approach it mentally and with my clients. So vowels and consonants are a key part of pronunciation as well as which syllable you stress. So yeah, there's like a Venn diagram, right? Like circles that overlap. Pronunciation and accent are related. And so pronunciation is a lot about vowels and consonants and which syllable you stress. Accent includes that and more. So pronunciation is part of accent. And then you add in, the flow, the melody, the rhythm, the stress, some deeper stuff. And for the vowels and consonants, it's also about not just being understood, but if you're actually trying to sound like a certain type of accent, then it's going beyond just being merely understood and trying to really closely align, like tune those vowels and consonants to sound exactly like how people from that accent would say it. So potentially a native speaker of a specific background from a specific community, whatever it might be. So like if you want to speak like me, if you want to speak with a so-called general American accent or something like that, then we can start to analyze, how do I say my different vowel sounds, my consonant sounds, and then we can compare that to how you say your vowel sounds and consonant sounds. We can start to sort of take inventory of what are those main vowel sounds and consonant sounds, because it's not just about the spelling. The spelling is crazy. There's a lot of inconsistencies when we try to map all the different ways of spelling things to the sounds. But if we just look at the sounds and ignore the spelling for a bit, there's still a lot to figure out. It's not, the super simple, easy thing, but it's a thing that is figure-outable to a large extent. We can count however many vowel sounds. You could debate the number, but there's kind of a countable number. And we could say, we could use whatever method to label the vowel sounds. Doesn't matter what you want to call them, as long as it's something that works for you. Like a lot of accent coaches call certain vowel sounds like fleece. And these technically aren't sounds. That's a deeper thing, but like, we'll think of them as sounds for now. So like fleece, kit. So fleece is like the E sound that when I say the word fleece, it's the sound that I use in the word fleece. And when I say the word kit, I do a vowel sound in that word as well. When I say the word kit, it's this kind of I sound. And so that's my kit sound. And dress, I say dre, dress, and that's my dress sound. And if you compare that to your open E sound in Portuguese, it's probably not exactly the same. And so that's part of where pronunciation and accent might be a bit different, is if you just want to be understood, you could just use the sounds from Portuguese and copy paste. But if you want to actually pass as a native speaker or get closer to that, you probably have to go beyond just copy pasting what you already know. You have to kind of open your mind and kind of retune, readjust the vowel sounds and the consonant sounds in these tiny ways that most people aren't even consciously aware of. But native speakers can instantly feel when you aren't quite in the range that they're used to for each vowel and consonant. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me check on something here. My wife is texting me. On Instagram, I guess I should say that too, so you don't just wonder where I went. My wife texted me, so let me just check on that. But again, comment YT or YouTube and join us on YouTube. That is where my focus is, and you can ask questions over there. I may not see your questions on Instagram. I'm trying to look at both, but I want people to move more and more to YouTube lives instead of Instagram lives over time here, because I think it's a better environment for deeper focus, and there's some more interesting stuff we can do, and I can share my screen and stuff like that. But yeah, let me check what my wife texted me. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to keep watching chat in both of these. I'll keep sharing things I think are useful about accent for Brazilians who want an American accent. So yeah, throw any questions you guys have for me in the chat. It could be specific words, sounds, approaches to practicing in smarter ways. Again, kind of the main pillars I see in accent are vowels, consonants, flow, which to me is like how you put the vowels and consonants together, reductions, linking, actually saying things in a full sentence, the stress, the rhythm, the melody, kind of everything else beyond just the individual vowels and consonants when it comes to actually speaking in real life. And smart practice, kind of the meta level, the how do you actually practice, how do you actually improve? So not just what the things are or intellectual knowledge of them or being able to do them in isolation, but how do you actually move towards shifting your real life accent for real? So that's where I think of as not just random practice, but smart practice, doing something that's actually effective, not just repeating things a million times and feeling like you're wasting your effort and going nowhere. So those are some of the main categories you might have questions around. Trying to keep checking in on both chats here. You know, again, feel free to ask stuff and I'll try to cover things. Want to, hop on here more often for free accent help, and we'll see where things go. So yeah, vowels, consonants, flow, smart practice. Let's dive in a bit in those. So in vowels, maybe I can even pull up some slides or something. Let me open. I do have some slides pre-made that I use with my clients sometimes, but why not share some of those for free, for the heck of it? For the hell of it, for the heck of it. It's funny. I would normally not say for the heck of it, but I was censoring myself since I'm on a live, but I don't know. I curse a bit. Go back and forth on what to do publicly sometimes, but it's all good. All right, so let me log into my business Google Drive. And again, throw some stuff in the chat here if you guys have questions. I'm watching both Instagram and YouTube chat with main focus on YouTube chat. And again, if you're on YouTube, please let me know if you could hear me, because YouTube is still somewhat new for me. So I want to make sure that the audio is okay. Let me know if there's an echo, if it's distorted or clipped, or hopefully it's okay. Got a comment here on YouTube. Sou brasileira e percebo bastante meu sotaque nas vogais, mas também no som do final das palavras. Não é o famoso I, mas o som do T e D. Eu coloco mais ar do que o necessário. Como melhorar? Se você quiser, você pode até entrar aqui comigo ao vivo, ou mandar o áudio para mim, ou no WhatsApp, ou no Insta, eu posso te falar como. You guys can hear me good? Awesome, thanks for letting me know. Mas sim, se você ou qualquer pessoa aqui quiser entrar, eu quero ajudar pessoas gratuitamente aqui, seja só, você pode escolher o nível que você quiser. Pode ser só você perguntando no chat, ou pode até ser mandando um áudio, que talvez eu possa analisar rapidamente, gratuitamente. Ou até você entrando aqui. Deixa eu só mutar o zoom, que tá com barulho de notificação. Não sei mutar o zoom, na verdade, mas deve ter um jeito. Settings. Mas sim, enfim, você pode até participar ao vivo nessa live, não tem que mostrar a cara se não quiser. Pode ser sem vídeo, só áudio, ou me ligando no WhatsApp, ou aparecendo no Zoom. Tudo isso com autorização, claro. Mas se você quiser, me fale aí no chat, no YouTube. E eu posso te convidar para aparecer de alguma forma. Que não seja só o chat. Deixa eu tentar mutar. Achei. Eu acho que mutei o Zoom. Ótimo. Como que entra? Ok. Então, vamos fazer... Acho que o mais fácil... eu ia usar o WhatsApp, mas estou usando o meu... Vamos tentar fazer através do Zoom. Vai ser uma aventura juntos, tá bom? Pode ter alguns desafios técnicos aqui, mas vamos tentar. Então deixa eu criar uma reunião na Zoom. Eu vou colocar no chat no YouTube. Acho que eu consigo só deixar entrar umas pessoas específicas, porque não é para todo mundo não. Só quem eu vou convidar, sabe? Então deixa eu criar uma reunião de Zoom. Live accent help, and then we can try to diagnose what's going on with your T and D sounds and vowels and whatever it is, the stuff you're curious about. Maybe I'll hear something you're not aware of too. Vamos ver. Okay, so let me make sure I do the right settings here. I think I want to turn the waiting room on specifically in this case. Thanks everyone for being patient as I learn how to do YouTube lives. I think it's going to be awesome long term as I get better at doing this. And yeah, figuring it out live, which is hopefully something you guys can take for your own lives too. Is you don't have to start with perfection. You can get better over time, and sometimes the best way to learn it is by doing it. Just do it live and improve it. Ship it imperfectly and then iterate and make it better. All right, so let me see. Editing the Zoom meeting. Where can I do waiting room? Why is that not showing up? Well, I will just, this could be chaotic, but I will just, even if I can't turn the waiting room option on, we'll just wing it, do it without that. Let's see, so copy invitation. Or if I can respond privately. No? Okay, whatever, that's fine. So, pop out chat. Okay, cool, popped out the chat. Okay, there's the Zoom link. Again, thanks for bearing with me here. All right, so back to the chat. I'm literally just going to copy paste the Zoom link here. And then Merjori 9, você pode entrar aí. É só você que eu tô convidando, tá? Por enquanto. See, I tried to post a link. Did it work though? I don't see my own message. Let's see. Testing. Weird. Testing. Oh, there we go. So I'm gonna say, yeah, okay, you got it. Let me try. Okay, so let me start that Zoom meeting. Yeah, it's a big old experiment. We'll see if this works. My first time trying a live
recording in progress.
A YouTube live into YouTube. And I know there's better ways to do this, but I'm just winging it live. And we will improve as we go. So I don't know if I can do my video in the Zoom as well, but let me see. Let me unmute here. Can you hear me, Mel?
Yes,
Da
I can
provi?
hear you.
Awesome. And then let me
Yes.
know in the YouTube chat, can you hear Mel? And I think we'll do it where it's just your voice and not your face, because I don't even know for sure how to share your face yet. I think I could share my screen and that could work. But is that okay to, share your voice on the YouTube live?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so let me go back to the YouTube chat and see, can you guys hear Mel when she talks? I'm going to assume yes, but let me know in the chat and we'll keep going. Okay, so you mentioned you have some issues. Is it okay if I talk in English? We can
Yes,
mix.
it is.
Okay, perfect. So you said you got some issues with like vowels, but you also mentioned like T and D stuff at the end. So can you tell me a bit more? Like, are there specific words that are tricky?
I don't know. Basically, any word that ends with a T, like it, great, food, um, good, anything that ends with a T and a D, I feel like I put so much emphasis
Uh-huh.
on the T and the D, and like there's more air than when it's necessary.
Yeah, got it. So is that related to vowels or that's like a separate issue? And you were mentioning
Oh, that's a
multiple.
separate issue for sure.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Just to clarify. So yeah, let's dive into that first. So, I mean, one thing is there can be many types of versions of a sound. So like a T sound there's not really just one sound for this like concept of a T. So another common there are like multiple options, and that's kind of what we're getting at. And like the fancy term for that is allophones, but you don't need to remember that. But it's like, yeah, how much air do you blow? Where exactly is your tongue touching the roof of your mouth or your teeth or the bump of the gums behind the teeth? Like we can kind of like fine tune all those things. And so, yeah, we could look at how much air is coming out or like where you're making contact or how much pressure. Another thing though is for something like it, I don't always do the type sound at all. Like I
Uh-huh.
often will do it in my throat instead. So like a glottal stop, like oh, a glottal T. So it,
It,
uh-huh.
it. So
Yeah,
you don't put any air in through your tongue.
I can. I'm not
It.
saying it's wrong. I can totally say it. Like we
Right.
need to look at it.
Uh-huh.
Or let me think of a more natural sentence. I don't know, do it. Like if someone's like,
Hmm.
should we do it or not? I'm like, yeah, do it. But I would almost never say do it. I'd say do it. Do it.
Right.
It's kind of like para versus pra in Portuguese. It's not like it's right or wrong. It's more of depends on how much clarity or emphasis you're putting on that word in that moment. There's a lot of moments where
Okay.
you're not going to say the full para and instead you're going to say pra. But then if someone didn't
Right.
understand you, you might be like para na 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 na. Like you might say it more clearly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So it's kind of the same thing
I feel
for
like
a lot of these. Go ahead.
yeah, I feel like I do it like I just did it. But I don't know. In a lot of cases, I just pronounce it so much because I'm trying so hard to not do the e sound. Like instead of saying great, I want to say great and not greaty, like a Brazilian would do.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know. It's just well, I understand now how you do it.
Yeah, so like not only do you kind of like delete the extra E that Brazilians do, but like you can even almost sort of delete the T if you're following my advice. And
Right.
technically I don't actually delete it, it's still there, but a lot of people
Yeah.
think that I'm deleting it because it's again like this different type of a T sound that most people aren't expecting where instead of stopping the sound with my tongue, the main way I'm stopping the sound is kind of like in my throat. My vocal cords or
Yeah.
vocal folds suddenly stopping, like in the middle of the word oh, at the end of that first syllable. Uh, oh,
Right.
it, do it.
Yeah.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah. And you said it at the end of great. That's great. Like, that's it,
I know.
right?
I know I do it, but I never notice how I do it.
Yeah.
I just do it.
So maybe that's where we can like notice where you're already doing this and just bring some awareness to it and kind of build a bridge from where you already do it to the places that you aren't
Hmm.
doing it yet, but maybe you could.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Is that helpful? We can do more if you want. We can wrap it up there. Just wanted to give you a little
No,
bit of help,
I think
whatever's
I
helpful.
think I got what I got the answer I was looking for. Because I do it sometimes and sometimes I don't do it. And
Hmm.
I just wanted to make sure why. Like, is it a flow thing that I'm with certain things? Certain things I say is just a flow. I'm used to saying those things. Or is it, I just wanted to be aware where I put that sound.
Yeah.
And then the vowels, the issue with the vowels are, I don't know. The other day I was saying the word, um, I forgot the word. Dang. Um, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was saying absolutely, and I know kind of sounded off.
Do you know which part is off specifically?
The beginning, absolutely. I say it just like in Portuguese, absoluto to me.
So maybe the letter A, the sound associated with that very first vowel sound. Is
Yeah.
that what you're
Yeah.
hypothesizing? Like maybe
Uh-huh.
that part is off? Yeah, so
Yeah.
instead of like da, I do a little more like in the front of the mouth. So instead of I do ah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's kind of similar. It's just like a little more of an extreme version, like in the front. And even if you don't know what in the front means, you were just able to do it. So we don't have to get into all the theory if you're able to copy it. You copied it basically right now. You did it
Okay.
pretty well. Can you hear the
Alright.
difference between like
Yeah.
ab and ab?
Oh, yeah.
Ab.
Yes.
Awesome. Because not
Yeah, as
everyone
soon as I
listening
said
probably
it.
can hear it, but if you can hear it, for you, that's what matters. Because then you got
Right.
it.
As soon as I said it, I
Said it.
I was recording. As soon as I said it,
There you go. Good.
I see. I didn't know I did that. That was good too. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah,
Um,
happy to help.
but I was recording myself, and when I heard the video, I was like, "Oh, this is not right. It's not." There's so much accent.
Yeah, that's super common. Recording yourself is a great thing to do. A lot of people avoid it, but like recording and listening to yourself. But yeah, if you can stomach it, oftentimes it's immediately obvious. You don't even like. Obviously, my job exists for a reason. There's some things that are hard to hear and stuff, but there's also a lot of low hanging fruit where like as soon as you hear yourself, you'll be like, "Oh man, I messed up this." You know, you can kind of coach
Right.
yourself for a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, it seems like you're on a pretty good path. You're asking some good questions. These aren't just like, the total like basic beginner stuff. You're digging into some good stuff, and you're already doing great. Like your English is great. You're not that far off
Thank
from
you.
like you're super clear, easy to understand. I would not say you have like a thick accent or anything like that. So yeah,
Okay.
you're doing awesome. And if you want more help, let me know. Obviously, we can't solve all the world's problems in one quick little thing. But hopefully this is helpful. Is there anything else you want to ask about? I don't know if, I caught you in the middle of like a random moment of your day. We can dive deeper if you want, but we can also wrap up if you're like wanting to, move on to other things. I'm good either way.
Well, if you have time for me to ask a few, one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll, yeah.
I do.
I was talking the other day about not really noticing the mistake in the words, like the word world,
Mhm.
jury.
Jury, like from a courtroom.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about like joyous.
Oh yeah, that's a hard one. I got it.
Yeah, so those words, that's the thing. If I hear you say it because you are a native
Yeah.
speaker, I can totally, wow, it's so clear in my head. But for some reason, I have a sound in my mind that when I try to reproduce it, I can't. It's just,
Yeah.
I cannot notice where the mistake is. Like,
Totally.
I don't see the difference in the.
You're not alone. I can help you with these specific ones, but yeah, also in general, like that's super common and it's okay. And it's a skill thing. It's not like a permanent, like I can I'll never be able to figure this out unless there's like some condition or whatever. But like generally, this is just a skill, and you can train it. You can learn to hear it, and you can learn to say it. So like in those two words, world and jewelry, I think the main issue I'm hearing is your dark L sound. That you instead of doing a O, you were doing a O or a oo, which is a subtle difference. But it's like, for me, I think of dark L as like pulling my tongue kind of backward towards my throat. Can you do that in a word like, I don't know, people?
People.
That was pretty good. Pull. So not po or poo, but pull. Pull.
Oh, people.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was good, actually. Because then, can you say the word pool now? Like a swimming pool?
Swimming pool.
Pretty close, yeah. Pool. At the end. Pool.
Swimming pool.
Pretty good. And now switch the P to a J. You're really close. It's good enough. So now just switch the P to a J. So instead of pool, say jewel.
Jewel.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So hard.
I know, it's weird, right? It'll feel weird and awkward and foreign, but in a way that's a good thing because it's a sign it's different from what you normally do, which is what we want if what you're normally doing is not what you want, right? So it's like different is good. It's a sign we're at least changing something. So yeah, jewel. You say pool, you switch the P to a J, and you say jewel, and then say re at the end, and then eventually you learn to say them back to back. But it's like jewel, re.
Jewelry.
Yeah, jewelry.
Jewelry.
It's tough.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was really good, actually. Does that feel different from how you would normally say it?
Yes, completely.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So play with that. Same idea for world, by the way. I think world is even harder, personally. But I'll give you some tips for that. And so first of all is break it down. Oh, go ahead. Do you have a thought?
Yeah. The baby fell.
Oh, no. Yeah, take a minute. That's important. That's funny. Let me check in on you guys here on Instagram and YouTube. Join us on YouTube if you want. I'm doing live coaching. You might be able to hop on as well. Let me check. My wife texted me back. Awesome.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't worry. You're good.
When you're live.
Are they okay?
Yeah, it's just fine.
Good. That's what's most important.
I don't know is my camera on at all?
So your camera is on for me, but I don't believe people in the live can see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you want, even for me, you can, turn your camera off to be extra sure, but yeah, I'm not, as far as I can tell, I'm not sharing my screen on the live.
Yeah, those were the questions, and I guess I just have to practice a lot now. Because I don't think I ever made that sound that you just taught me.
Oh, really? Interesting. Well, you did it really well.
Or Joel.
You're doing it really well. So yeah, go play with that, and I think it'll help you a lot. In the shower, in the car, like random moments when you have, 30 seconds, just like talk to yourself, quote unquote, like a crazy person, just like kind of mumble to yourself out loud, practice the sound, go back and forth between that sound and other stuff, like learn to control it, put it in different words, you can have like simulated, conversations, pretend, you need to say it in some situation, be like an actor, be like a kid, use your imagination and just like practice it in a bunch of random things. And it'll start to become part of you the more you use it like that. Can I give you...
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And maybe you gotta, take care of the kid there and stuff. Can I give you maybe in the next minute, like kind of the main tips I give for world, and then we can let you go, I guess?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. So for world, the 80% tip that helps people get some good initial results is usually to think of it as were plus old. So two separate words. Were as in like they were doing blah, 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 like past tense were. And then old as in like value, like an old person, So we're old. That alone will help a lot of people just to have like a mental structure.
Yes.
But then the part that you need beyond that is, again, the dark L. And specifically being able to hit that dark L sound immediately after you just did an R. And so being able to hit that R and the dark L clearly without like mixing them together in some way or something.
Yes,
So like,
I do that. I mix them because like
yep,
if I practice that word too much, I start saying road.
yeah, or word
Like the
or
road
woad or
outside.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything can get twisted around. So that's part of it, just practicing to kind of hit each target clearly to have that control in the right sequence. But yeah, so I would start, if you want to work on world and related words, I would get rid of the W and the D and just focus on the R, L transition. So I would go like ol, ol. Can you do that?
O,
Good.
O.
And then I would try to get rid of the pause and connect them smoothly. It doesn't have to be fast. It just has to be smooth. So, Earl.
Earl.
Again?
Did I do it?
Yeah, that was good. Again, though?
Earl.
Yeah, that was good. Now put a G at the beginning.
Like girl.
Yeah, so that's the word girl.
Oh,
Does that feel different from how you normally would say that word?
girl. It does. Yes.
Yeah. So notice those
Yeah.
differences. Those differences are the key. Because if you just say it on autopilot the way you've always said it,
Yeah.
you can already do that. But what we're trying to do is interrupt your autopilot and like kind of
Right.
build our way into a new pattern. Because as soon as your brain is like, oh, it's the word girl, I know how to say that, and you go back to your old way. But we're trying to like temporarily kind of interrupt your autopilot
Right.
and consciously do something new. And then eventually make it unconscious again. So it like becomes the new autopilot, the new habit. But that's like the long-term thing. But anyways, that's girl. And then if you switch the G to a W, you get whirl. And then if you add a D at the end, you get world.
World.
Yeah, that's much better.
World.
Does that feel
It's
different?
so hard.
It is hard. It'll take
It's
practice.
such a small word, but it's so many sounds.
Yeah, but give yourself some grace on that. It's normal for it to be hard. It's a bunch of kind of like, we kind of don't realize how crazy it is that we're able to talk at all. Just speaking in our native language, think about all the crazy things that your lips and your tongue and like all these things are doing, like a complicated gymnastics routine, you know, like overlapping motions and all this craziness so fast. It's crazy we can do it at all. So think of how long it takes babies to learn how to talk, right?
Yes.
Give yourself some, some patience. If a baby says mama or dada, we're all like, yay, so good. So like be a little more like that with yourself as you're learning a new sound. Just like be excited about these little victories, and it's normal for it to be challenging, and just keep going and celebrate the little bits of progress. Don't like beat yourself up unless that's helpful for you, but don't like get too demotivated. Just keep going, and it will add up if you're practicing well.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I'll do that. It does.
Awesome. And even there, quick feedback. Ow, do that. You can also insert that dark L right there. So instead of ow, all.
Okay.
All. Or I'll. But the reduced version is all.
I'll do that.
Yep. So I say I'll, like I-L-L, the same way as all, like A-L-L, in a lot of everyday sentences. So yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
I'll do that.
Yep.
Hey, I am talking.
But yeah, I can let you go.
I gotta go, yes.
Yep. It was great to have you on. Was that helpful?
Very much. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Happy to help. Have a good one. Bye. All right. Awesome. Coming back to the comments here on YouTube. I'll check in on Instagram as well. That was awesome. Hopefully you guys could hear that on YouTube. On Instagram, you can't, but you can hear it if you join YouTube. I just did some live accent coaching with someone. But let me know on YouTube just to make sure. Could you guys hear Mel, the person who was the person who I was coaching, let me know if you could hear her when she was talking, just to kind of real quick make sure, is the tech working? I think you should have been able to hear, but I just want to make sure. Yes. Okay, awesome. Amazing. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so some of the comments on YouTube. Let's see. So frustrating. We think we're speaking good, then we record it and hear the actual thing. Exactly. It's super common. It's can be frustrating, but it can also be amazing when we realize that we're able to notice those things. And if we view it not as like a permanent thing, like, oh man, we suck. We thought we were awesome, but we suck. But instead of you just expect that you probably are missing things that you don't know about yet, just assume that that is true. And then when you discover those things, be excited that you're getting feedback, that you're getting information about how to improve, about how to move forward, about how to close that gap if you want to. And I didn't say this in this live. I don't say it always, but because, you know, the main people I help, I think already understand this, but I don't personally view any one accent as inherently better or worse. I think that's kind of up to society and each person, and it's a flexible, imperfect thing based on human judgment. And I don't think that you need to sound like an American. I think Brazilian accents are awesome, but with all that said, I'm here to help people who do want to try to sound American or closer to it. Just because I think that's awesome. Just try to sound like a native speaker. I mean, I try to do that in Portuguese. Eu tento falar o mais próximo de falante nativo, tipo, do Brasil, que eu não sei conjugar essa frase, que eu consiga fazer, que eu, sei lá, algo assim. É um caminho sem fim, talvez, né? Um processo de melhoria contínua. E é isso, mas eu gosto. Eu gosto de ter essa meta desafiadora, talvez impossível, mas que é uma meta clara, uma estrela, uma North Star que me guia, que ilumina o caminho de alguma forma. É tipo, eu tenho clareza que eu estou tentando falar igual brasileiro. Eu posso não falar exatamente assim, na verdade, de um momento para outro. Talvez a minha execução, meus modelos mentais, meu próprio sotaque, qualquer coisa pode desviar de modelos de sotaques brasileiros, mas minha intenção é clara, mesmo se o resultado não for 100% em todo momento. E tá tudo bem, mas eu tô tentando. Hopefully that makes sense. And so I love helping people who are open to that idea. I don't think you have to do it, but that's what I love. And I think it's fascinating. And I think it's not talked about enough in a healthy way, so to speak. There are a lot of people who kind of demonize it as like a bad thing to do, or rejecting your roots. And I do not think it has to be that. So I want to be a voice in this space where we don't have to make any of this like some terrible thing. I think it's awesome to sound Brazilian. I think it's awesome to sound American. And I think it's also awesome for you to have personal choice and for you to choose how you want to sound and to at least try. And you can never guarantee, some magical perfect solution where you 100% sound like a native speaker when you're not a native speaker 100% of the time, but you can get meaningfully closer to it. And so that's what I try to look at, is what are the techniques, the approaches, the mentality, whatever you want to call it. What are the things we can do that it's not just hand waviness or mindset. It's just like you do these things, and if you do them well, you actually will sound more like an American. And maybe a sound or a word or a phrase might actually pass as an American to a lot of American listeners if you do it well enough. And then it's about consistency and kind of automation, making it a habit, spreading it across the dictionary. Like there's a lot of kind of layers to it, but if we shrink down the problem to a smaller scale, kind of baby steps, it becomes a little more approachable. Instead of you either sound American or you don't, or instead of trying to like always do it 100% of the time for 100% of listeners, like instead it's like for this one moment, for this one listener, did they think that I was American? Even if in the next moment they immediately are like, where's this person from? Because something slips. But a lot of people, it's like the first word out of their mouth, they're like, hi. And then the person's like, where are you from? And it's like, all I said was hi. How do they know? And so what if we can move that to the second word? What if you could say hi and they still think you're American? And then the second word, they're like, then they're like, where are you from? That would be progress, right? If that's something you're interested in. And so that's kind of how I see it. It's like, if you want to explore that, how can we increase the amount of time that on average someone might not ask themselves in their brain, where is this person from? Or even if they are asking themselves that at some point, how can we reduce the overall kind of friction or effort that is required for them to understand you? How can we make it so that you're talking more like one of them and kind of already entering into the patterns that they're expecting, instead of asking them to put in more effort to understand your patterns, which is fine too. Again, I don't have like a super critical perspective of like a right and wrong thing here, but rather, if you want to, there are things you can do to align yourself more with a specific accent, and that can be valuable. It can make you more easily understood and or perceived more favorably by certain audiences. And so I want to give you the tools to move in that direction if that's interesting to you. Okay, let me pop back into the chat here. Thank you for having me, Mel said. I'll definitely get some classes in the upcoming months. Amazing. I would love to help you more. I hope to help you here for free. I've got my free content as well. But yeah, anyone who does want more help, I do private accent coaching, where it's kind of like what I just did with Mel, but just no audience, just you and me on a Zoom, and the time is all yours. And I'm here to dive deep with whatever you need, give you feedback, give you coaching, plan how you can practice for real in your probably busy life, whatever the reality of your life is. I have plenty of clients who are, product managers, engineering managers, different, walks of life that can be pretty busy. And so it's like, how do you continue to make progress in a simple way that actually adds up over time? Okay, so let's see. More comments on YouTube. It's a lot like Thinking Fast and Slow stuff about the autopilot and conscious brain, for sure. I haven't read that whole book, but I love the concept of, what is called mode 1 and mode 2, thinking fast, thinking slow. And yes, I think, I can't speak to like the scientific rigor and the exact connections or whatever, but I think it's probably a lot like that, or is that. And I think that's super cool stuff to explore, and I'd love to explore it more. A metaphor I sometimes mention is, sometimes if you go to an art class and you try to draw a face, so imagine you have a photo of my face here, and you try to draw it as perfectly as possible. You try to, make it look like the photo. If you try to do that, it can be challenging, of course, right? You may have seen artists who can draw it and it literally looks like a photo. But one of the tips that I've heard can be given in an art class sometimes is to take the reference photo and turn it upside down, and then try to draw it upside down. And the way I understand it is, it's a way of interrupting your autopilot. And instead of your brain thinking, oh, I know what that is, that's a nose. Oh, I know what that is, that's a face, those are eyes, those are lips. Instead, you kind of interrupt that, and now that it's upside down, you don't quite process it as, oh, that's a nose in the same way or as fast. At least this is how I understand it. Instead, you got to see the shapes. You decompose it into pieces. You see, oh, there's a circle and a line and some shading and this. And I think accent is very similar. If you allow your autopilot to control things, then your brain is like, oh, I got this. I already know that's an R sound, and I know what an R sound is, or that's the word girl, and I know what the girl, pronunciation is. I know that word. And then it just repeats the autopilot. And so our job when we're really trying to do well with accent, learning a new accent, changing the way we speak, is changing the way we speak. It's interrupting that autopilot. So it's the equivalent of turning the photo upside down in, drawing and artwork. We're trying to turn our accent upside down. We're trying to turn the reference audio, so the reference image, the reference audio upside down. Except instead of turning upside down, we use other methods of kind of distorting or decomposing anything that helps us get out of the autopilot perception and production and into what are the pieces, and analyzing them in detail along some continuum, along some, breaking it down, and then eventually maybe kind of reintegrating it as some holistic thing. But we want to, it's kind of like a mechanic. Another metaphor is, a mechanic opens up the hood of the car, makes some adjustments to the engine, whatever. They take things apart, put it back together, and then you try to drive again. So it's like when we're working on accent, your car's already driving, but you might want to tune it up a bit. So the car is your accent. It works, but maybe you still have a bit of an accent. You want to adjust something. So we pull over, we go and we adjust a few things. Seems to be working, you know, in the shop. And then we close it up. Let's take it on a test drive and make sure it actually works in real life conditions. And so that's kind of how I think about working on accent is, like with Mel, we were working on the Dark L sound. We kind of make some adjustments under the hood. We test it out in some simplified environments, try adding, you know, people. Okay, got the Dark L. What about if we say pool? Okay, that was a little tricky, but we put in repetitions and then we got it pretty good. And then we say jewel and then jewelry. And we're building our way up to words and eventually phrases. And we're kind of like taking it out on the road at a certain point of like, in the next step we didn't quite get to with Mel would have been now say the word jewelry in some improvised phrases like I love jewelry, I have jewelry, I'm going to go get some jewelry at this place or whatever. And it's continuing to try to maintain that new pronunciation even in improvised phrases where you're kind of distracted thinking of what you're going to say next. And if you notice it, go back to the old pronunciation to catch that, to notice it, and then gently guide it back to the new. Does that make sense? It's arroz com feijão bem feito. It's a lot of basic stuff, simple but not easy, that we just keep working on, keep improving. Okay, let me see here. I'm adjusting my software here a little bit. What else we got? In the book, not sure if you read it. Yep, a bit of the book. Okay, I think I'm caught up on YouTube comments. Let's see. Okay, if there's enough time, can you touch on the pesky TH sound, in particular for words where it combines with other hard sounds? Like sixth, faithfully, mouthful, Goliaths. Yes, we can look at that. If you want, you can also join live. It's up to you. I'll let you kind of answer in the chat. You can hop on Zoom. We don't have to show your face. Or I can just talk about it here, whatever you prefer. If I can hear you, I can kind of help you specifically more. If I can't hear you, I have to kind of guess about common issues I see with a lot of other people I've helped. But whatever you prefer is fine. Rochester Oliveira, that's talking to you specifically. Let's see, and Inara Gonçalves said, would it be okay if I ask you a question about pronunciation? Yes, for sure. That's why I'm here. You can ask here in the chat, but also if you want to participate and join me live on Zoom, if you're okay with me sharing your audio. I don't plan to share anyone's face today, but if you're okay with people on YouTube live hearing your audio, then you can hop on Zoom with me. Just let me know. Anyone who's interested, just let me know in the YouTube chat, and I can invite you to that. But I will go ahead and start talking about TH a little bit, in the absence of anyone saying they're interested. But yeah, please let me know either way. So let's see. TH, sixth, faithfully, mouthful, Goliaths. Yeah, so some of those are combinations. So like Goliaths, you have a TH plus an S. Sixth, you have a KSTH, kst, kst, or a possible reduction of that. Sixth. I'm trying to remember some of the reductions we can do in that one. But yeah, kind of a KSTH. Faithfully, you have a TH followed by an F, and you also have an F at the beginning of the word, so you have some good contrast there between F and TH, which will help expose the difference. If you're not very skilled with that yet, that's a good word to practice. Mouthful also has a TH to F transition. So let's start with that. That's kind of the fundamental definition of a TH, is if we contrast it with F, that helps you understand what it is and what it isn't. Let me get a drink of water, and then I'll teach that. So let me double check the time. Actually, I have to leave in the next few minutes. I have a call in 5 minutes. So I will talk about TH, and let's see, you're watching your baby now, so can't join. Yeah, no worries at all. Inada, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, and if I have time in the next 5 minutes to answer it quickly, I will do my best in the next 4 minutes. But yeah, so TH is the tongue versus the top teeth. The tongue touching the top teeth. And it's not about the lower lip. F is about the lower lip touching the top teeth. So they're both similar sounds. They sound kind of similar. There is a difference. I can hear the difference, even if you can't yet. I can tend to hear the difference. Generally, I would argue I can hear the difference. And the difference physically is, again, both are, something is touching the upper teeth. The question is, which thing is touching the upper teeth? So for an F, it's your lower lip, and you're blowing air with your lower lip touching your upper teeth. And then for the TH, instead of your lower lip, it's your tongue that is touching your upper teeth. Does that make sense? So then you can practice transitions between those as a fundamental skill that you can then put into words like faithfully or mouthful, anything where you need to transition in an actual word. But practice that in isolation first. So go back and forth between TH and F, which is basically, again, physically substituting your lower lip and your tongue back and forth for which is touching your upper teeth. And then you can put into words like faith, faith. You could say with, and make sure you're saying with your tongue touching and not your lower lip. Because if you do lower lip, you're saying with, which is a different word, like to catch a whiff of something, a smell, or to whiff when you swing a baseball bat and you miss. Ah, man, he whiffed it. Whiff, as opposed to with. I am here with you. And so, yeah, faithfully is a great word to practice that. Faithfully, that transition. Same for, what was the other one? Mouthful also has that transition. And then there's going to be similar transitions for like TH versus S. You can, again, isolate them back and forth. And the TH can be just the tip of the tongue, just a little bit of the tongue. It doesn't have to be really exaggerated. Like, it can be more subtle. And you can practice that back and forth with an S. And then put that into Goliaths, or sixth, and so on, sixth. So I'm not going to be able to have more people on Zoom today or in this live. I may do another one. I want to do more of these, but I got another call in a minute and a half. So let me try to answer another thing or two on my way out here. So Inara Gonçalves says, I don't hear the difference between I do and I do. They're very similar, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think my brain tricks me sometimes because I think I can hear a soft D sound at the end when pronouncing the first one, but I'm not sure. You might, so there can be a slight difference, I believe. This is also something I'm not 100% sure about. But what I think you might be noticing is that, yeah, before I... So let's get rid of the word do for a moment and focus on I'd versus I. And I think that might reveal a possible difference there. So I. One of them doesn't have a sudden stop. The other does have a sudden stop. One of them, my tongue does not go up to the roof of my mouth in the front, and the other does. So if I go da, 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 I'm doing a D, and the D is, my tongue is releasing a bunch of built up pressure. So the first part of the D, the tongue goes up, and then the pressure, and it stops the airflow, and the pressure builds up behind it. And then optionally, I release that pressure in an explosive, audible way. But that release, that audible release, that explosion is optional. You could just have your tongue go up to do the stop and not do the audible release. So that would be if I say, instead of I'd, I can say I'd. And again, that's different from just saying I. I'm going I'd. So you might be hearing that being emphasized a little extra. Maybe there's not an actual pause or stop, but you might hear a little extra duration on that. You might hear it happening a little earlier in I do than it does for I do. Maybe. We'd have to explore it more. Anyways, I gotta go. I got another call I gotta hop on. Hopefully this was helpful. Wasn't able to help everyone with everything. You can't solve everything in one call, but hopefully this was helpful. I hope to do more of these. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you want more. Send me a message on Instagram or whatever. If you want help, links in my bio on Instagram to become a client if you want more help privately. Otherwise, hopefully the free content helps, and I plan to do more of these lives. Have a good one, and tamo junto.